Speedway Report is a production of ZTV. Well, endurance sports car racing is looking more and more like Saturday short tracks, and that is a good thing. Atlanta, Georgia proves that it is still a top-level NASCAR track, and Noah Gragson has been radio show gold. Love this guy. Never fails to produce show prep. Welcome to Speedway Report from Monday, March the 22nd, 2021. I'm live from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. Weekly gratuitous plug to subscribe to our YouTube channels. Just look up Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds. And there I am. You'll see this face quite a bit on YouTube. Jump over to the Victory Lane lap and look back on St. Paddy's Day week 2021. Let's talk about who won what. NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, and Trucks, the three national series, were all in Atlanta, Georgia. Saturday, we had a doubleheader with the Trucks and Xfinity machines. Kyle Busch won by over 4 seconds. Margin of victory, Justin Allgaier won the Xfinity Series race. And last night, Ryan Blaney took the Cup 500-miler there. IMSA had the marquee event on the weekend with the 12 hours of Sebring. Saturday night, the victory went to the Cadillac, driven by Sebastian Bourdais, Tristan Vautier, and Loic Duval. They suffered through a broken rear wing, still hustled that car home for the win. We'll talk more about that in a few moments. Lucas Oil Late Models raced in Waverly, Ohio at Atomic Speedway last night. Hudson O'Neal bagged the A-Main victory. World of Outlaws Sprints got some shows in Texas with the Cotton Bowl two-step in Page, Texas last Friday night. Sheldon Hodenschild was your winner, and on Saturday night, Brad Sweet took the checkered flag. Cars Tour was local to our studios here over the weekend on the pavement in Hickory, North Carolina, with a doubleheader for the late model stock cars won by Bobby McCarty and the super late models won by Carson Quapple. I used to work for Carson's dad in the Cup Series. It's not making me feel any younger. Yeah, used to build cars for him. Moving on, Southern Modified Racing Series. The Smart Tour was in Florence, South Carolina over the weekend. Caleb Heady won the win, just a narrow margin of victory over Cup Hall of Famer Bobby Labonte. And in Bristol, Tennessee, on the dirt surface, they ran a week-long action racing all last week. Jonathan Davenport was the big winner of the super late model race, $50,000. Not bad for a day's work if you can find it. All right, let's talk about this busy weekend, what was going on here. The guy that's producing so much to chat about, love him, hate him, or indifferent. I doubt anybody's indifferent. Everybody's got an opinion on it, but Noah Gragson really making the radio show topics easy. Guys like this really hit home with race fans. He's becoming somewhat of a polarizing figure, a little bit of a Kyle Busch style of presence where I don't know what's going to happen, but you best keep your eye on him for whatever will, what he's going to say, what he's going to do. Maybe he's just got a heavy right foot and he's going to the lead in the front, all of which are true about the guy. Let's talk about the latest in Atlanta, Georgia during Saturday's Xfinity Series race. Gragson backed up in his pit stall into Daniel Hemrick. These are the first images I saw that were posted on the internet. Yes, but mostly, like watching politics or quoting the Bible, give me a little context and a little more about what was actually going on. So we saw Gragson pull back into Hemrick's car on pit road, angered the pit crews, kind of put some guys in danger. Gragson painted as the black hat figure in this. Let's back up the tape a little bit more. What happened before then? What's going on fully? Daniel Hemrick pulls into his pit stall, which joins Gragson. Hemrick pulls through his own, overshoots his, winds up in Gragson's pit stall. Hemrick has to back up into his pit stall for service for tires and fuel. Gragson coming right in on the heels of Hemrick is stuck as Hemrick is in his pit stall. Hemrick backs up and Gragson pulls into his pit stall. in a position that you cannot service the car without a penalty. So Gragson backs up to get a proper angle in his own pit stall, and when he backs up, Gragson hits Hemrick's car as Hemrick's crew, is making their own pit stop. Well, that's a little bit more than what we first saw on video, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, where do we go from here? Post-race, Gregson's doing an interview, and Hemrick comes over, grabs, shoves. Gragson throws the haymaker at him. Crews get in, we're punching, we're shoving, we're punching some more, we're shoving some more, guys get separated and all this. Well, the blame game is all over the place. What's cool, what's not, whose fault is this? Gragson largely painted as the bad guy in this one. I don't think so. I'm not saying it's cool to hit another guy's car on pit road, but this happened because Hemrick overshot his pit and was in Gregson's pit stall when Gragson was trying to pit. Now, I'm not back in the bus over Daniel Hemrick. That is just fact of the matter. That's how it played out. That was the mapping on this one. Heck, Daniel Hemrick's been a guest on this show before. Seen him race the short tracks and met him, talked to him. He raced modifieds. Good dude. Was in the Cup Series. Deserves to be in the Cup Series. Yes, he is that good. Gregson's still a younger guy on his way up, but Hemrick is the one that overshot his pit. That put Gragson into a bad position. He had to back up or straighten his car out somehow. So he backed it up, and he went right into Hemrick's. Now, the criticism from the race fans and our social media friends with the keyboard muscles, clearly the case of we're endangering pit crew members. True. I'm a former pit crew member myself. When you sign up for this job, it's dangerous. You know it. That's what you sign up for. You hop over that wall, it's you against a 2-ton piece of steel and aluminum, and probably a few places carbon fiber and titanium, depending on the budget. You're going to lose every time. But Hemrick put Gregson's guys in danger when he overshot his pit stall. Gragson put Hemrick's guys in danger when he backed up into it. Let's face it, in the heat of the moment when tempers are flaring, Gragson probably didn't care if he hit Hemrick's car or not. I don't think he purposely went to hit Hemrick, but if he hit it, he didn't care. I think he was really focused on getting into his pit stall. Now, he waved the middle finger out his window, Gragson did, at Hemrick, his crew guys, and all that, during all this was taking place. Sure, he was pissed. I don't blame him. Hemrick is pissed because he backed up into his car. Yeah, if I'm put the helmet on, and I'm looking out the window of Hemrick's car, if I'm putting my helmet on and looking out the window of Gregson's car, I'm thinking either guy's got a case here. But I think Gragson was painted as the villain unnecessarily here. Hemrick overshooting his pit stall is what started this whole thing. And a lot of this goes by playground rules in my book. Who started it? There's your culprit. Hemrick doesn't slide through his pit stall. None of this happens. But he did. He overshot it, got into Gregson's pit. Gragson is coming right into his pit box at the same time. He's pissed because he can't get in there. These races are too hard to win. How many times has Gragson been in position to win this year? Several. Things out of his control have taken these away from him. Now, how his reaction to some of these has been critical by race fans, but he certainly lends life to the series. He certainly lends life to NASCAR. We complain there's a lot of vanilla drivers out there. But let's get a Kurt Busch. Let's get a Kyle Busch. And now let's get a Noah Gragson. Those guys are anything but vanilla. Any business that opens up his doors and say, hey, we got vanilla ice cream for sale. There's no line around the corner waiting to do business with their wallets open. I don't think we need to be banging guys on pit road, cars hitting each other on pit road. Wrong. However, Gragson was looking at his rearview mirror to try to just get this thing straight. You can't see for jack out these mirrors of these cars or turn your head with the safety protocols and devices that are in them. It's not like you turn your head around and backing your car out of the driveway. You don't see like that. This was happening too fast for a spotter to call. Gragson was just trying to get his car straight. The fact that he hit Hemrick, he probably just didn't care. In the heat of the moment, I don't blame him at all. I might be an unpopular opinion with my audience. However, the problem was caused because Daniel Hemrick overshot his pit stall, which was conveniently edited out of the tape on a lot of media outlets. Remember, it's like covering the White House or quoting the Bible. If you're going to give me a Bible script, wait a minute. Give me the verses before and after and give me the context of the story. You're going to give me a quote from the President of the United States and swing it one way or the other? Wait a minute. Let me hear the whole speech and out of the context that these words were used. Gragson's the villain here? Simply not the case. It was retaliatory. Don't blame him. Hemrick going up to him after the race? I can see that too, because when you're in that car with the helmet on, it's rarely your fault, in your opinion. Now, grabbing and shoving, I haven't seen a good fight in years, but I've seen a lot of grabbing and shoving and crew guys jumping in there. I don't know how you police the crew guys to stay out of it, because when I was a crew guy, we just traveled as a team. We went to bat for each other as a team, and if someone jumped my driver, I was jumping in there with them. We all did. There was no way for crews to stay out of it. Somebody attracts your driver. Either way, who's right, who's wrong. The other guy's going down, we're throwing down. That's how racing is. It's your teammates and your buddies all around you. You play and you fight for the uniform, not what your opinion was, what happened on the racetrack. Alrighty, let's talk about the Cup race yesterday. Ryan Blaney with a little bit of a surprise at the end of the race. Kyle Larson, the dominant driver all day long. What happened? Well, sometimes you really need to not be the rabbit. When you are the rabbit and have that great car all day and can dominate, you get a little conservative on touching it and messing with it. The track is constantly changing, and you have a super fast car from everybody else. Why would you change it? Who's going to change the cars? The guys from second on back. They're trying to beat you. So they are throwing the kitchen sink at their cars, trying to get better. Whether that be tire pressure, wedge adjustments, maybe some aero pulling on the fenders. They do that on pit stops to overlook things. If that happens, they're the ones that are going to improve the speed. So I've seen this before where the guy out front is the rabbit. He's got the dominant car. You don't want to touch the car because it's perfect and driving away from everybody. Everybody behind, they're trying to make their cars better. And on that last run, somebody finds the combination that's better than the rabbit. I've seen it time and time again over the years. You do have to adjust your car and try to make it better, even when you're leading and running the race. The track is changing. It's taking rubber. Your car is wearing, the fuel level burns off, tire wear goes away. Yes, it is a tough decision to make, but you still have to adjust your car on every pit stop. Most pit stops, I should say, when you are running away from the field, to try to keep up with the track and try to stay ahead of the other guys, because they are changing and making adjustments to try to get faster than you. Blaney comes on in the end, gets in front of Kyle Larson for the checkered flag. After the checkered flag flew, he gets out of the car in victory lane, takes the checkered flag, gives it to a young man in the stands, a young fan with a Blaney t-shirt on. This is the type of stuff the sport needs. The folks like Daniel Hemrick and Noah Gragson, we need folks like them. We need folks like Ryan Blaney, too, giving checkered flags away to kids and giving them memories that'll make them fans for life. What was cool, and I didn't realize this till after the race, but I remember watching the great spring Atlanta race of 2001. One of NASCAR's most memorable races. This was Kevin Harvick's win for Richard Childress Racing, his first win in the 29 in his third start in what was Dale Earnhardt's former car. Dale killed at the Daytona 500. Kevin Harvick comes back to win 3 races later. And this was a great finish between Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon. There was an amazing dogfight, a 5-car shootout at the end. Harvick and Gordon pulled away from the other 3 to finish first and second. But in the late laps of this race, the top 5 were fantastic. It was an amazing finish to this race. Now, what people don't remember, and I did not remember either, is the dominant car of this day was none of the above. But it was none other than Ryan Blaney's father, Dave Blaney. He was the dominant car on this day, was heading for victory lane, we think, much like Kyle Larson was, we thought yesterday at Atlanta. But the wheel came off. It either came off from a pit stop or it broke. I don't remember what, but I remember him lost a wheel. Blaney was in that 93 Amoco car for Bill Davis Racing, and this was Blaney's race to lose. He was that good of a driver that day, or that good of a car. He's always been that good of a driver. The car was was the winning car on this day, but he didn't see the finish on the lead lap. 20 years later on this race, his son Ryan comes home for Roger Penske and wins the Atlanta Spring Race. Kind of a trophy for Dad. Cool story right there. In addition to cool finishes, let's jump further down I-95 to Florida and Sebring. My goodness, did you see 12 hours of Sebring? These races are not decided by laps and laps between drivers anymore. You've got a short track shootout of a finish with these things. Sebastian Bourdais, we told you at the Victory Lane lap, won the race driving a Cadillac, had wing damage, had a piece knocked off with just a few laps left. He had to hustle and drive that car. I mean, man up muscle and drive this thing to the win. And he was greatly pressured. Harry Tinknell, Dane Cameron, and Alexander Rossi. The top four were right there, whipping through lap traffic, diving, bumping, sliding. It was great. This was like a Saturday night shootout at your local late model race. It was not. It was the finish of the sports car race at the 12 hours of Sebring. I love IMSA racing. This type of racing gets better and better and better all the time. These cars are so reliable and close and fast and bulletproof that we don't have these huge gaps and margins of victory anymore. We've got these tight finishes right at the end of these endurance racing. It's amazing time to watch IMSA sports car racing. This was a classic finish at Sebring. Very exciting, well worth the 12-hour wait. I touched on this dirt race a few weeks ago. $40,000 to win the feature in Bristol, Tennessee. That's great. While the Lucas Oil dirt late models were racing in Ohio and Indiana. There was no way. There were ways to get around this. My goodness. Lucas Oil had their schedule. If you want to run for the championship, you can't miss that weekend. Yet there's dirt at Bristol, Tennessee. A marquee event with $40,000 to win. You got to pick one or the other. So do the fans. This is not good for racing of any types. I've always abhorred this, and it usually involved the short track world when they pile on each other and can't figure out an optimum date where everybody, fans and competitors, can enjoy. And today, as we tape this, March 22nd, 2001, 34 years ago today, we lost Charlie Jerzambek in Martinsville, Virginia, driving the Wilsburg number 5. Heavy crash at Martinsville took his life. This was in a very deadly period for modified racing where we were losing a lot of the star drivers. And the loss and tragedies gave us information to make these cars a whole lot safer. We've seen this in the upper echelons of upper levels, national touring levels of NASCAR. This happened at the short track level in the 80s. And the drivers of today are withstanding much more dangerous crashes, faster and harder crashes, because of the loss of guys like Tommy Drewer, Dodd Pratt, Richie Evans, Corky Cookman, Charlie Jerzambek. We miss all these guys, but what they gave to modified racing and to everybody's lives will never be forgotten. Rest in peace, Charlie Jerzambek. And I got word shortly before we went on the air tonight, one of the veterans of the Danbury Race Arena where I grew up on, George Rezatuk, passed away earlier today. We lost Scott Sasso as well from the last show. These two gentlemen from the Southern New York Racing Association, near and dear to my heart, an association. That's how I grew up on the sport. That's how I found it, noticed it, fell in love with it, learned from it. Was everybody in Danbury, Connecticut, and the SNYRA. Scott Sasso, rest in peace. George Rezatuk, rest in peace. Miss you guys. Miss the race arena. Miss Danbury. What I didn't miss was Sebring this past week and that great finish that I just talked to you about. The guy that was wheeling that car for the lead, for the win, with that broken wing, I'm going to give our Speedway Report Racer of the Week to Sebastian Bourdais for that fantastic drive. Man up down into 12 hours of Sebring and takes it to Victory Lane. Everybody, in between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of racing with SpeedwayReport.com. We've got all kinds of podcasts loaded up there. We just changed the time on the clocks. This is our first show of spring 2021. What's that mean? Warmer weather and road trips. What are you going to need for your road trip? That's right, bunch of podcasts to pass the time. SpeedwayReport.com. Social media. On Facebook, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds and Racers Reunion. On Twitter, at Speedway Report and at Speedway Pat. RacersReunion.com in the forum. And like I said at the top of the show, our YouTube channel. Big thanks to everyone on the Facebook live feed for joining the show tonight. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, you take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless, and thank you all. You've been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and you can follow me on Twitter at SpeedwayPat. Now, it's March 22nd at 7:52 p.m. Eastern Time. You have 8 minutes to get to Drag Racing List page, which is on Facebook if you're watching this live right now. Bill Pratt and John Bockelman will take you through the next hour. And I'll be back live here on Monday, March the 28th. What have we got? Oh, yeah, it's a big one. Formula One season opener in Bahrain. NASCAR Cup and Trucks on the Bristol Dirt Track. And the World of Outlaws Sprints will be in Missouri. I thank you, everybody, for watching. You take care of yourselves. And take care of each other. And I'll see you all next week.